Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you, depending where you are in the world. It's our nighttime devotion. The devotional is called Lift Him Up. The title today is The Last Crisis. The scripture reading comes from Isaiah 59 verse 14. Justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. We are living in the time of the end. The last fulfilling signs of the times declare that the coming of Christ is near at hand. The days in which we live are solemn and important. The Spirit of God is gradually but surely being withdrawn from the earth. Plagues and judgments are already falling upon the despisers of the grace of God. The calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, the alarms of war are portentous. They forecast approaching events of the greatest magnitude. The agencies of evil are combining their forces and consolidating. They are strengthening for the last great crisis. Great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final movements will be rapid ones. The condition of things in the world shows that troublous times are right upon us. The daily papers are full of indications of a terrible conflict in the near future. Bold robberies are of frequent occurrence. Strikes are common. Thefts and murders are committed on every hand. Men possessed of demons are taking the lives of men, women, and children. Men are being infatuated with vice, and every species of evil prevails. The enemy has succeeded in perverting justice and in filling men's hearts with desire for selfish gain. Justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. In the great cities there are multitudes living in poverty and wretchedness, well nigh destitute of food, shelter, clothing. While in the same cities are those who have more than hearts could wish, who live luxuriously, spending their money on richly furnished homes, on personal adornment, worse still, upon the gratification of sensual appetites, liquor, tobacco, and other things that destroy the powers of the brain, unbalance the mind, and debase the soul. The cries of starving humanity are coming up before God, while by every species of oppression and extortion, men are piling up colossal fortunes. The scriptures describe the condition of the world just before Christ's second coming. Fearful tests and trials await the people of God. The spirit of war is stirring the nations from one end of the earth to the other. But in the midst of the time of trouble that is coming, a time of trouble that such has never been since there was a nation, God's chosen people will stand unmoved. Satan and his host cannot destroy them, for angels that excel in strength will protect them. I want to make sure you're aware. This was written nigh on 150 years ago. Nearly. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Well over 100 years ago, I'm telling you. This was written a century or more ago. And she's mentioning the plagues and judgments, calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, the alarms of war are portentous, portentous is significant. The condition of things in the world show troublous times. The daily papers are full of indications of terrible conflict that's near. Bold robberies, frequent occurrence, strikes. I mean, strikes, we had, there were strikes going on then 150 years ago. Okay. The last time I remember any strikes of any significance were probably in the 70s. Maybe 80s. And they're starting to occur now more regularly. We're having tube strikes, rail strikes. We're now starting to go into there's talk of nurses, ambulances, and the rescue services, etc. Now I remember those in the past, but why is it these services are going on strike? Because they are the public services. You can't do that in the job in the private sector, because you just get sacked. Thefts and murders are committed at every hand. Men possessed of demons are killing men, women, children. All of this that was happening well over 100 years ago is all happening even more prevalently now today. And then she says, the poverty, the wretchedness, people destitute of food, shelter and clothing. Isn't that just about to happen to us on a vast scale now? Just look at how, and I know how I'm saying this, look at how they are conducting the weather, the food shortages, the increase in pricing for utilities, the strike action. Everything is all combining to affect us in a negative, detrimental way. It's all combining to happen at the same time. We won't have heat, we won't have food. Many more won't have shelter. There won't be rescue services, ambulances, fire, etc. They'll all be going on strike. While the rich who have got more money than they could even imagine, think of, dream of, more money. And I know that for a fact because I was working in construction. I was working on a project. The whole project was worth £3 billion. And it was a number of townhouses and apartments. And these apartments were 1, 2, 3 bed apartments plus the penthouse. The cheapest of the 1 bed apartments was £2.5 million. This is an apartment block. This is an apartment in a block. The penthouse was nothing shy of £120 million. And the sick thing is, these were all being ordered, bought, put deposits on off plan. People didn't even see them completed and they were buying. Now obviously these aren't people like you and me. These are people that have just got money they don't even know what to do with. A 1-bedroom apartment, £2.5 million. And these, I can't say anything about these people. I don't know who they are, their lifestyles, etc. But there are people living on the streets because they've lost their jobs, because they've lost their families, because whatever it is, the reason is. No food, no shelter. They're dying from cold, dying from lack of food. And there's this money. This was near Victoria. And there were so many homeless people on the streets in Victoria. And just a stone's throw away, these apartments and houses are being built. That's costing more money than even fairly rich people in this country still can't afford. The scriptures describe the condition of the world just before Christ's second coming. Tests and trials will await the people of God. God's chosen people will and must stand unmoved. Satan and his host cannot touch, and I claim to take that position. Satan and his angels cannot touch us so long as we stand firm for God. That means understanding what is happening in the world, understanding the signs of the times. The prophecies in the Bible are, I would say, so far 100% accurate of what has happened so far. And if in prophecy in the Bible we've done, let's say there's 100, out of the 100% we've achieved, we've got to about 85% of the prophecies in the Bible, they've all come to pass exactly as the Bible says. There's about 15% to go. Why would you doubt that is going to happen as the Bible said as well? The Bible proves itself to be true, to be real. The truth of this world. The truth of history, the truth of what is to come. You can't fault it. Choose God. Choose Jesus. Shun the devil. Shun the devil.